having this tightness in my chest, and I couldn't, I don't know, like breathing and all was kind of painful. I'm one of those people that don't like going to the doctor. Tried to ride it out for 2 or 3 months, and finally I thought about, if something is really bad wrong, and I'm not telling anybody, Renee's gonna wake up one day and I'm just gonna be dead. So I told her. Of course, she told me I was an idiot for waiting that long. Do a few pictures here. Okay, turn a little bit, do a few pictures here, and then the next thing I know, I'm on my side and she's doing like 400 pictures, and they found 6 different lesions on my liver. It took about a week for the test to go on and the results, and in that week, I think is when everything kind of started to come together as far as God tore me down. And I think the biggest struggle that I had was, if I died tomorrow, what have I done for someone who gave everything for me? Felt more than anything that God was pushing me to do something in the kingdom, and I felt like it was to build a church somewhere. As an impatient person, I go to Google and I put, no lie, church building mission is what I typed in. Of course, of our email conversations back and forth, he basically said, I've been hoping and praying that someone would contact me about building this church, and I said, I'm your man. What do you need to do?
When he came to me at first about it, he said, I feel like I believe God's putting this on my heart today. I'm like, okay. And he said, I want to give us about a year and we'll go do it next. I'm like, okay, that's doable. That gives us some time, and to really make sure that this is what God wanted us to do.
I told you I was impatient.
But then he came back to me and he said, I really believe God wants us to do it this summer. And again, this is April. I'm like, this is not going to be cheap. And again, I'm like, okay, is he going crazy? Or is this something that God's really put on his heart to do? And so it was in May, and it was time we were going to have to get passports. And I was calling the post office. My husband and I need to come in and get passports, and we need to come in this Friday. And the guy said, well, I'm not real sure if we've got any more appointments left. He said, let me go check, and he put me on hold. And I said a prayer right there, and I said, God, if this is really something that you want him to do, I don't want to be the one that holds him back. I said that prayer. I said, God, this is what you want him to do. I need there to be an open time, and I needed to be at 2 o'clock. I was just really specific and bold. This is what we need. And this will let me know that, yes, you have your hand over this, and you want us to go. The guy came back and he said, ma'am, we do have an opening. Is it 2 o'clock?
I was a teacher, and she was stay-at-home mom, so it was just like a one-income family. So before we even had the money in line, we went ahead and started booking plane tickets and visas and passports and trying to do everything because it was going to happen. We thought, okay, this is easy. We can go through the house. There's plenty of things that we have here. And we'll just get it together and fill the garage.
I guess for me, it would just been anything that I saw in the house that I felt like was a want, was not needed. Other than to say we had it, let's get rid of it. We don't need it.
We all have stuff like that. What about tomorrow? I'm not here. What does all this other stuff matter anyways, If I got rid of my TV or, I don't know, bicycle or whatever, a laundry list of things that I could have gotten rid of, and I got rid of those and I transformed that want into somebody else having a relationship with God, there's no comparison. I hear people talk about the sacrifices that we took to get the Mercy Home started, and I just can't wrap my head around it. I mean, are you talking sacrifice as far as financial stuff? And if you're talking financial stuff, everything I have was given to me by him, and it should be my own will to give it back. And if you're talking about the time and the effort, I mean, what is that compared to him dying on the cross for me? I mean, those things. I mean, I don't even like to consider it a sacrifice. I really don't. I actually consider it more like an honor that he would pick somebody like me to do anything. There were 16 boys that were on the compound that he was in, and then he said that there was also 10 street girls that would come by the compound, but they didn't stay there because they didn't feel like they had a facility that was safe enough for them. My intent was to build a church, or I felt like that's what God was pushing, but the more I was trying to get to the church, the more that I found out about these girls, and the girls were weighing on my heart, and more than anything, I wanted to tell Pastor Steve here about that. He said, "Well, can I share your story in the service?" I said, "Absolutely, just don't make me talk. Just don't make me talk to anybody." And so he said, "Okay." And so he shared the story. And a few days went by. Keep in mind, we have 2 weeks before we're leaving on this trip. And a couple days go by, and I think, okay, well, I better email him or call him and find out what's going on. I said, was there any kind of reaction from the church about these girls and maybe moving forward with it? And he said, "Yeah, you'll have your money for the orphanage when you leave." The initial trip was this church, but while we were there, we were laying the groundwork for the actual Mercy Home. And I'm watching these boys, and we're playing. We play outside in the field, soccer and cricket and whatever they want to play. And then at nighttime, they'd go into their sleeping quarters, and they'd pull out their little mats and it'd roll out this little straw, one of the rattan or whatever mats, and throw it out, and they'd have their pillow, and they'd go to sleep on the concrete floors. And I got kind of close to these kids in that first trip, and so when we got back, I'm sleeping on my mattress at home, and I'm thinking back of those boys sleeping on the concrete. So I contacted Pastor John again, and I said, "Those boys, I want those boys as part of the Mercy Home too." And so we had the 10 girls. There was 16 boys. Now we're talking about 26 kids, and we don't even have sponsors at that point. I mean, we're taking in kids that we don't have any support for, and all of it goes back to, I just felt more than anything that God had His hand on it. It didn't matter. He was going to take care of any of the financial stuff. That was all little stuff. So it was very easy to know what the Mercy Home was going to be called and all those things, because it was the generosity of Open Door Church that made it start.